Ngowi TV, informed economists and business perspective.
In the first place, please, you have to follow university-specific in-house style. Every university has its own style on writing dissertation.
But also poor proposal writing, also lack of concentration on the dissertation. People don't concentrate on writing whatever they want to write.
But also the length, maximum and minimum of pages. You understand from Mzumbe, I think you know the number. Follow the guideline. You cannot submit a dissertation which is 30 pages, which is 20 pages, and however good it will be. This is not a term paper. So follow those things, my friends. And I've been telling some of you that there is no way I can accept this week because you have not met the minimum number of pages.
Language problems, lack of focus, you see, it brings errors. We'll say someone is not focusing on the objectives, but also ignoring the guidelines of the university is another problem.
You have to read a lot, really, in order to be able to give a proper introduction and background and the context of this chapter. You have to understand issues. What some people do is copy-pasting. Yeah, because I'm writing on SME, then everything on SME is copy and pasted there. That is wrong.
Don't hire writers, please. Write yourself. You know, if you write yourself, you shall be given a task, maybe by UN or by whatever organization, international. You can do it yourself.
Sometimes really it will be a course just on literature review, on critiquing the literature. Yes, XYZ has said this and that on this matter that I'm writing. So critique, give your own view, give your own opinion. Don't cite.
B flat for masters, that is poor grade. If you B flat, for you, focus on A first, and then B by accident, B plus by accident. No B flat. That should be your motto.
That's why I'm saying after your findings, my friend, you should not just say hallelujah, that's it. Go back to the literature and say, what did the literature say? What are my findings are? To what extent are we speaking the same language? Don't force your findings to be similar to the literature. Otherwise, there would be no need of going to the field anyway.
Is it good spelling? That's what you do, because that is a field. You see, eh? Because I've seen some people write per capita income. They say per capita income. So instead of having capita, they capital. You see, eh? So those things have to be there because I'm the language person.
And someone tells me, but you're using a lot of effort. Why don't you put the full stop for me here? The master's thesis is not for me. I have mine already. It's yours. You have to know why the dot should be here, why the question mark should be here. Also, you have to follow the normal logical sequence of chapter, as I've said here. Now, for example, normally chapter 1 will be introduction and background, normally, you know. And what I'm saying, really, you have to make sure that you really do that. You introduce and give background. Yeah? So make sure it introduces your study topic and it gives background of your topic. Yeah? It gives background. And in order to write this chapter very well, of course, you have done it now. But then, when you do it later, if you come to a third or second master's, when you go to a PhD, really, you have to read a lot, really, in order to be able to give a proper introduction and background and the context of this chapter. You have to understand issues. What some people do is copy-pasting. Yeah, because I'm writing on SME, then everything on SME is copy and pasted there. That is wrong. That is wrong, really. You have to understand, you are not writing everything. You are not giving us introduction and background about SMEs in all its entirety, but then you are giving us in the angle that you are following in your own study. So, make sure it gives context of your study topic and should be very focused in the study area. Remember, my friend, if you are writing on SME, if you are writing on business dialogue, if you are writing on procurement issues, if you are writing on industries, if you are writing on entrepreneurship, you cannot and you are not supposed to write on each and everything on that area. You have your angle of focus. Viren, you are writing on the bank. You are not writing on everything on banking. You are writing on banking, but in growth in bank. Kashuliza, you are writing on industries, not everything on industries, but on specific issue. You are writing on things related to procurement. Mtafia, you are writing something on a business dialogue, but then you are not writing in each and everything in that area. So please go and sharpen your work. Focus. Let it be focused. And of course, do not write everything as I've said here. And you have to internalize what others have written on this topic and use your own words as much as possible, really. As much as possible. I would say really most of this work, and that's where plagiarism thing will come in, really read, understand your topic very well. Once you have, of course it's too late maybe to say so, but I think we said when you guys are choosing your topics, go and read it. Understand it in your topic in very broad sense, so that you can actually write almost in flowy. My friend, you are writing on interior design. Understand it very well, so that when it comes to writing, you don't now need to copy and paste some other works. Internalize so that you introduce the topic. If somebody awakes you at night, there is a friend who wakes up at night to see whether I've sent the plagiarism report. Now I've sent it, sir. Amani, are you here, Amani? So once I've sent it to you, so you know, now it's exactly the same way. You should be able to see if I'm working, I'm told it to say what is the to introduce my topic. You should be able to flow. You don't need to say, okay, now let me get the book. You should own it. You should internalize it, you know, and that's it. On the literature review, my friends, this is again one of the key topics. Of course, this entails that you have to read a lot. And remember, the word is review. Is review. It's not literature copy paste. It's not a literature what it is literature review. And you have to do exactly that. What do? You have to review and not just cite. You know, I will explain. It's not the question of saying according to Ngowi, according to Musabila, according to XYZ, according to Kuzilwa. No. You are not supposed to be copy-pasting the literature. You have to discuss the literature. You have to critique. You have to critique. You have to engage the literature. You know, we once did some studies in Senegal, Dakar, Senegal, at the Codesphere Commission for Science and Technology in Africa. You know, sometimes really it will be a course just on literature review, on critiquing the literature. Yes, XYZ has said this and that on this matter that I'm writing. So critique. Give your own view. Give your own opinion. Don't cite. Because some of you, most of you have been writing according to XYZ, according to, and the comment will be, and according to you, what are you saying? So what we are saying, please, you have to discuss, to critique, to engage the literature, instead of just citing authors. Yes, and of course, here you have to problematize issues. You have to, you don't accept everything that is served on your plate. Yeah, that is the way the critical thinking part of it. Some of you maybe did philosophy, some of you maybe did a critical thinking, where you have to think critically about what these authors have written. You can critique them. They are not gods. Yes, they may be authorities, but then you have your own opinion. Yeah, even if it's a literature by a Nobel Prize winner, you may have a different opinion from him or her, and it could be okay. If Joseph Stiglitz, he got a Nobel Prize in economics, and so many others, you know, you may not necessarily subscribe to his view. You may have your own view, and it's quite okay. You give your word. But also sometimes really you have to compare and contrast. Yes, this author XYZ is saying this, and this is saying, but then how do they differ? How are they similar to each other? How are they really on the same alignment? To what extent do they belong to the same school of thought? To what extent are they differing? And at the end of the day, come in with your views. What are you saying? Yes, Musabila said this and that. Ngowi said this and that. Kamuzora said this and that. But now, what are you saying? Amani, what are you saying? Mtafia, what are you saying? Zephaniah, what am I saying on this area? What is my viewpoint? That is originality that we are looking into in here. So you have to give your opinion and position on issues, because really, as I said, you don't need to accept each and everything that is being saved on your plates. Sometimes we may save rubbish on your plates. Critical mind, as you are supposed to be at master's level, you should be able to say, no, this is nonsense, it does not make sense. According to me, this is what really makes sense. So make sure you give again all the necessary references and sources, because what we have been seeing is some really substantial amount of copy pasting, and some of you, I think you understand, I've been giving you comments, asking you, yes, this I know it is okay. It is okay. These figures are quite okay. Yes, GDP maybe is this much, inflation is this much, exchange rate is this much. But according to who? Where are you getting the figures? So give me the sources. Because I'm sure they're not coming from your own head. There is no way you can produce me a trend of inflation for the past 10 years and tell me it is your own source, unless you have gone to the field, and I'm sure you are citing it. So you have to give sources appropriately. Friends, now will be the methodology chapter, which is very, very important. All chapters are important. I would say methodology then is very, very important. Because really, methodology, you did a whole research methodology coursework for a whole semester. For a whole semester, really. And of course, what I'm asking you guys, of course now you have done it, but please make sure you are not reproducing research methodology notes. Some of you have been giving you comments and say, please, we are not writing notes on research methodology. Because I've been seeing, and I have no problem in saying this, but I have a problem in what you are doing. Everybody saying, according to Kothari, according to Kamuzora and Adam, it's okay, I have no problem. But now, yes, this is according to them. Now the question in methodology is, you tell me, how are you using the knowledge that you got from Kothari, the knowledge that you got from Musabila, the knowledge that you got from, call it Adam and Kamuzora, how did you use it to design your work, to design your strategy? This is not a chapter where you define for me research methodology is, research design is. We know those kind of things. Now tell me, how did you use the knowledge that you have to exactly conduct your study? So show clearly all the methodological issues, step by step, that you used. And of course, if you go to your research methodology readings, even if you go to the Mzumbe University guideline, it will tell you specifically in the research methodology chapter what are the key issues that should be there and how they should be written. I cannot cite them for you here because I understand you know. And when I'm saying this, I don't mean that you have not really followed them as such, but then it is emphasis that when you go now, please, in the final document that you are going to write, make sure you are not going to write short notes on research methodology. You are not going to write short notes on research design. You are not going to write short notes on sampling. You are going to tell me, you are going to tell the reader, you are going to tell the internal examiner, the external examiner, the oral examination panel, how did you do the sampling? Yeah, why did you choose this specific design? You are not going to define a case study is. We know. Tell me, which case study did you choose? Why did you choose this case study? Why did you choose a case study and not these other designs? And which are these other designs that you could have chosen? Please, you have to make sure that you do that. So, in reporting again, and that is very important, in report writing, which you guys have done now, because some of you, I think, have given comment 2 or 3 times. In now reporting, remember that you have done the research, therefore use proper tense. And among the key issues where I would catch you guys on methodology is on the tenses. What you do is, you make a mistake, you guys. You know, you wrote your research proposal, and your research proposal ended mainly on the methodology chapter. You went to the field, you collected data, you wrote the findings. You never revisited the research methodology chapter. You kept it as if you are still promising, as if you are still informing the supervisor that I will, I shall, I will. You get my point, eh? I see some of you laughing, and you are getting the point correct. So, please, under research methodology, remember, you have done the work. Most of you, when I'm writing, please write correct tense. It means you have done this work. Why are you telling me again, the researcher will choose this and this sample. The researcher will choose the sample of 2. Now, the key question I'm asking you, you have done the study. Why are you still promising me? If I were to be rude, I would say, oh, you have not done it. So take it. I cannot read the rest. Go and read it. But I've been kind enough to read, to keep on reading. Although I know, I understand. You know, that's why we are teachers. It's not so easy to be a teacher. So, please, use the tenses correctly. Remember to revisit the research methodology chapter that you wrote in the proposal. It's not the same that will be coming in the report. Although really most of everything will be more or less the same, but then you adjust some things, especially especially, for example, the tenses. As I'm saying here, you have to revisit the research methodology chapter that you wrote during your proposal stage. And few do revisit really. Most of you would submit in the report, you still submit exactly the same topic that you submitted when you did in the proposal. And when I give you comments, you see some years, some 2-3 years ago. But you accepted this chapter in the proposal, Malim. And I say it's okay, that was a proposal. This is a report. You get my point. Again, you have to update it, including avoiding future tenses accordingly. And interpreting is very important. And I will say here, do not force or cheat on things that you proposed but did not work in the actual research. Remember, in the proposal you are just proposing. When you go out there, it may not turn out to be exactly the way you wanted. In Tafia, you might have wanted to go to Dodoma, but then maybe things turned out that you could not go to Dodoma. Instead, you went elsewhere. And sometimes I have my mechanism of following. I will go to the Dodoma district executive director and say, did Mtafia come here? No, he didn't come. Why is he still keeping Dodoma here? So, some of you keep on cheating in order to make sure that you get the sample that you promised. You are making your life unnecessarily uneasy. If you promised a sample of, call it 120, and it turned out you didn't get 120, you got 100, it's quite okay. Come back and report exactly that. You get my point, friends? Don't force things. Research. When you are reporting now, you are reporting the actual. Some of you are accountants, you have estimates, and then you have actual collections, and then you have the variance. So don't force things. Here I'm saying, because when I'm going through, I see people struggling to make sure they have the sample that they once promised. And then when this is not possible, they cook data. And when you cook data, I know how to catch you. You get my point, yeah? And I don't like that trapping. I've seen a student sometimes here propose to make a case study somewhere in Kigoma. She was based in Dar es Salaam. And when you go through the study limitation in the proposal, one said limitation fund. Why? It's because, the question was, if you wanted to know the status of collection in local government authority, and you are saying you want to do a case study in Kigoma, and you will be visiting Kigoma now and then, and you tell me your limitation is funds. Normally it does not make sense if you are based in Dar es Salaam. I'll tell you, why don't you do local government authority which is based in Dar es Salaam? Why don't you go to Ilala where Zafania is? Why don't you go to Kinondoni? Why don't you go to Coast Region? And so we agreed, and this student said, it's not one of you guys, some 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. But then reading the report again, you still see Kigoma coming in. You get my point? So you have to, after proposal, you have to correct it and come with the final version that you agree. If you agree Kigoma is too far, I will go to Ilala. I expect to see Kigoma. My friend George, we agreed. Of course, I have no problem with you. Don't think that I'm going to say a bad thing about you. You started something on education, and we say, no. Let's go industrialization. And we agreed on case study. I'm happy that I'm reading exactly the same thing that we agreed. My friend who is doing demand and supply on interior design, we discussed at length here, sometimes in January, February, on whether you could get data. Yes, at last we agreed. Okay, you can go on. And I'm happy that it's coming. But some of you, we said, actually for this study, life will be unnecessarily easy for you. There is no way where you are going to do a survey for the whole country for a master's thesis that takes all this short period of time. But then I see people struggling to think that they will be, what is the word now? That they will be impressing to show that they interviewed 1,000 people. It's not a matter of quantity. It's not the question of number, the question of quality. You get my point, friends. So all we are saying here really, for example, when it comes to study area, that is the case. If I think you cannot go to Kigoma, and I advise you to go to, call it, to Ilala, and you actually go to Ilala, and then, but when you are coming to report, I still say Kigoma, to me it sends signals. It tells me maybe you had a report for Kigoma ready-made, and you wanted to force it to submit it, And you understand the plagiarism will give the true colors, yeah? Again, on the data sources again, don't force the data sources. Yes, if you thought you could get your data, for example, local government authority, on procurement, on suppliers, on contractors, and these data sources did not turn out to be available. You did not get the municipal director, you did not get the district executive director to interview, you did not get the minister that you wanted to interview, you did not get the bank manager that you wanted, you did not get this mamantilia to interview. It's not a problem. It's not a must that you follow the proposal that you wrote. In writing report, you tell me the reality. That is what I expect to see in the methodology chapter, that in the proposal, this was proposed, but in actual sense, I could not reach all the women entrepreneurs in, call it in Mbagala, call it in Kitunda. As a result, I changed. It's no problem. You know, this is not a, this is not a dogma. Dogma, you understand those in the Catholic Church, dogma is when the church has said, when Rome has said, and so it has to be. We are flexible here. We are flexible. So don't force things. Don't make your life unnecessarily easy.